Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm finishing up on this this little belt loop holster for, well, I mean, you can use it for a hammer or whatever, but I'm making it for these little pack axes that I'm getting them kind of tuned up and ready to sell. I just figured maybe as a setup with a small, camp axe or pack axe, just a good all-around small axe, and set up with a sheath and a belt loop holster. I like having one on me when I'm running the sawmill. Mine is actually out in the pickup right now, but it's a lot like this one, a little more, well, it's more curved like this one here at the bottom, but it's a very agile, easy to use. Like yesterday, I ended up having to use it while running the sawmill. I had some bark that was interfering with my blade guide on the sawmill, and I was able, I just had that right there on my side, able to take it out, pop it up like that, take the bark out of the way, and be able to put it away, very quick and easy. So that kind of sped up the process of not having to walk around or something and pick up this big heavy one. And this just, it has a little bit too much weight to it for a lot of jobs like that, because like you're working around the sawmill and there's steel underneath. So if you miss swing, or maybe you don't, or you cut all the way through something, this thing wants to carry on through very easily and make contact with the bed or something. Something that could happen, and of course you'd run your sharp edge right into a piece of blunt steel or something and mess up your sharp point there. So anyway, what we're working on is doing a little bit of leather working at the moment. I've had this ready to go for a day now. Yesterday we done some sawmilling. Today it's raining outside, and so this is what I'm doing. I've already done a lot of the work on this. I've just got a piece of Douglas fir here that I mean, this is old growth stuff here that actually come from a building that was in the backyard that we tore down, and it's very dry and stable, but I shaped it down to where I can kind of use it sort of like an anvil. And so we'll put that up on there, and it holds that in place for me. And we got this groover tool right here, so I kind of I took one of these diamond punches, kind of a diamond shape to it, to each one of those punches, and I just kind of went through and lightly marked where I was going to punch at, and then I came through with the grooving tool, and it's just got it's got a sharp edge on the front, and it's got a through hole there, and so when you drag it along here, it cuts a little trough in the leather, and that allows for your thread, this kind of thick, heavy wax thread, that allows for it to have a place to lay, so it's not being rubbed on and worn through so easily. All right, so after cutting the groove in it, then I went ahead and went back through and punched all my holes all the way through, and you can see where it ends up going into the wood here. That's why I want to use some pretty soft wood like this Douglas fir, rather than like say oak or something, because I don't want to dull these right here. I want them to be able to punch through the leather pretty easily. Now these punch sets here, I mean, this is not very expensive. You get this set of punches. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one has 4. This one's got 2, and this one's got 1. For like say going around tight corners, where you can't say use one of these or something. So anyway, what you do is you would punch your holes and these just make it easier to make it look nice. I had bought one. This came from Michael's, a store that we have in a larger town nearby. And the center punch, on the very first time I punched through one of these, it was actually, it wasn't on one of these, it was one of the sheaves. I punched through 3 layers of leather right there, and it pulled out the center one. The other 2 stayed, and I just made do with it. And so I've just completely gone away from using this style, and that's why I ordered this style right here. Much better. And using the round hole punch one, I had to double thread it or double stitch it. I had to go back through and stitch again. And the reason for that was because without 2 pieces of thread going through the hole, there was, you could see light through the hole, and it just it didn't look good. So I ended up double stitching that. This tool here also came with some, what do you call them? Bevelers, I guess you would call it, where you can, like, say when your leather is laid out flat. I didn't do it on these because I didn't think it really needed that. I kind of like the rough look like that, but you can actually go through and bevel the corners for a more refined look, I guess. These are just, belt loop hooks. It goes on your belt, and then you got a loop to be able to put your hammer or whatever in. So anyway, let's get around to sewing this up here. It's pretty simple. So we just pick out a hole here, and what I like to do is the side of the, well, I guess I really need to show you guys how to thread one of these. That's kind of what the video is about, isn't it? Is how to use one of these hand threading or hand sewing tools. So I'll go ahead and undo it here. All right, so you got a bobbin inside here. I should be able to just grab a hold of that and pull the cover out. All right, so you got a bobbin, and you're gonna thread your wax cord onto that. Go ahead and get some of this excess wrapped back up on there. It doesn't hold a whole lot, so you probably want to check before you start a new project. But then you've got a little hole drilled in the handle right here. You're going to feed that thread up through there, and you can just put this back in there. That holds the bobbin in place. All right, so then you got a little thumbtack right here, and that's your tensioner. And so what you want to do is, I wrap it twice to give me more tension. You can wrap it just once or whatever. Now the needles here, you'll have 2 of them. You've got a curved one, and then you've got a straight one. I just prefer using the straight one so far. And you line up, there's a groove in the needle. Line that up with this groove right here in the threading. Push that needle all the way down in there. And you take your cap and run your thread up through there, down over the needle, and then tighten it down. Okay, then you're going to take and go through the side that has the groove on it in the needle. You'll go through that whole side first, pull it through. Alright, so when I'm stitching, what I like to do is have the groove side always on my leading edge, like my next stitch. This is facing my next hole that I'm going to. And that way, whenever you pull it back a little bit to make your loop, you'll end up with your loop on this side here, hopefully. But that's the side I always run my extra thread that's on the back side. I'll run it through that. So let's show you how that's done. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. So we find the hole that we want to do, All right, we push it through the leather like that. Now this side on the left, or the side that's got the this little push pin here, that's the leading edge. So we pull it back just slightly, and on the back side of the needle is where our loop would form. But on the first hole you go through, what you're going to do is just pull this through and then pull enough through to go around the whole thing here. So we'll just pull a little bit more out. That's plenty. That'll be enough to easily go around that a few times. Want to make sure we have enough. All right, so now we're going to pull that back through. We'll go to our second hole. Make sure you don't stab your finger on the back side. I just did it. All right, so you go all the way through like this, and then you pull back slightly. Then you take your tail end here and pull it, go right through that loop on the back side of your needle, like that. Pull this back through, pull it tight, and you want to look on your back side of your stitch and make sure you pulled on this side to bring where the two threads have wrapped around each other, and pull that into the middle of your leather. That way your stitch will look right on the front and the back side. Then we're ready to go on to the next hole. I always have this push pin, or this thumbtack, whatever you want to call it, on the leading edge side. Push it through, pull back a little bit, run the tail through that loop like that. Then we can pull it back through, give it a tug, and we pull the stitch into the middle of the leather, and repeat. just what I like to do is I'll leave about 1/2 inch sticking out. Flip that off there. Take a lighter and burn it. And then wipe it into the other threads. And that melts them together. Leaves a little hammerhead, I guess, or whatever on top of that. You don't need to tie it in a knot or anything. Just like that. Now that stitch is locked in there and it's not going to come out. Not for the life of the product. I don't know how long these will probably last, but I would imagine they'd last about as long as leather can last. There it is. This one's a little bit shorter, you can see there, but that'll easily fit through like an 1.5 inch belt, which is what I wear. My belt's 1.5 inches. Let's see here. We'll measure it. Yeah, it's 1 3/4 inches would easily fit through there. You could maybe stretch that out if you was to get it wet and stretch that leather. You'd be able to get a 2-inch belt through there. But for the average person that's got a normal 1.5 inch wide belt, that right there is going to work. This one here was made to fit a 2-inch, and that's primarily how they're going to come, is to fit a 2-inch belt, unless you specifically want it to fit an 1.5 inch belt, you know, maybe just so that it's more snug and doesn't flop around as much or something, and we can make them like that. So there it is. I'm kind of thinking about maybe being able to do custom, you know, maybe stamp lettering or something into these. I can probably customize them for a little bit extra. But yeah, I think this is gonna be pretty cool. Let's see if it'll fit this handle here. Oh, that's nice and snug. Perfect. You know, if you was to be hanging upside down, you're not just gonna lose your hatchet right away. Hope you'd never be hanging upside down, but you never know. If you're into climbing and stuff, that's a predicament that you could get into. But this one was mainly for the prospector's axe, or pickaxe, whatever you want to call it. That way you could wear it on your side, and it's pretty much just going to stay in there. I mean, that could, since this handle doesn't have any real palm swell to it, it could easily slide out if you were crawling through somewhere, a tunnel or something. It could possibly slide out. What you might do to remedy that is drill a hole through here and put a lanyard on it or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty handy right there, I think. So hope you guys liked the video. Hope you learned something new today, and God bless. Take care. We'll see you next time.